All right, Reddit, strap in because this story's a roller coaster. I'm Lena Harper, 22, and a few years back, my family treated me like yesterday's trash, kicked me out, cut me off, and acted like I was never part of their perfect little world. Now, they're flooding my phone with apologies, begging me to come back. How did we get from total exile to tearful reunions? Let's dive in. On the surface, my family was the suburban dream: pristine house, trimmed lawn, and a vibe that screamed, "We've got it all together." My parents were obsessed with keeping up appearances, think HOA, presidents meets Instagram influencers. My younger sister Sophie was their golden girl, the kid who could spill juice on the carpet and still get a gold star. Me, I was supposed to be their living trophy: perfect grades, perfect manners, perfect daughter to parade around at dinner parties. But the cracks started showing when I hit 19. My parents pulled some next level shady stuff to get me into a top university. We're talking full on college admissions scandal. Someone was paid to juice up my test scores. When I found out, I flipped. I wasn't about to let my whole future ride on a lie. I told them no way. I'm not playing along. Their response? They lost it. Called me ungrateful, selfish, a stain on the family name. Before I could even process it, I was out the door with a hastily packed suitcase and nowhere to go. Let me paint the picture of how bad it got. My dad, Mr. Reputation is everything, didn't just yell, he went full dictator. He stared me down, veins popping, and said, "You are no longer my daughter," like I'd committed treason or something. My mom put on a show at first, sobbing like I'd broken her heart, and for a split second, I thought she might stick up for me. Nope. The waterworks stopped and she hit me with, "Don't expect a dime from us. You're on your own." Cold as ice. Then there's Sophie. She wasn't just happy to see me go, she was thrilled. Always the golden child, she saw this as her moment to shine even brighter. With this smug little grin, she leaned in and whispered, "Guess you're finally out of my way?" It was like something out of a reality TV show, except this was my life, and I'd just been voted off the family island. But my dad wasn't done. Kicking me out wasn't enough. He needed the whole town to know I was dead to him. So he wrote an op-ed in our local paper. I'm not kidding. He spun this dramatic tale about how I was a spoiled, ungrateful brat who'd thrown away everything they'd worked for. It was pure PR, like I was some disgraced celebrity in a tabloid scandal, not a broke, confused 19-year-old trying to figure out her next move. So there I was, suitcase in hand, heart in pieces, walking out of that house for good. No backup plan, no safety net, just me and a burning need to prove I didn't need them. And Reddit? That's exactly what I did. Leaving was brutal. I was 19, penniless, and had no clue where to turn. No secret inheritance, no rich uncle, just a stubborn streak and the belief that living honestly beat living a lie any day. I kept hoping someone would stop me. Maybe my mom would pull me aside and say, "You don't have to do this alone." Maybe my dad would soften, realize I was still his kid. Maybe Sophie would drop the act and show some sisterly love. But nah, they didn't just let me go. They practically shoved me out. "You're a disgrace," my dad barked, arms crossed like a judge handing down a life sentence. "You're walking away from everything we gave you. You'll regret this when you crash and burn." My mom chimed in, shaking her head like I disappointed her beyond repair. "You're throwing your future away. Don't come crying back when you fail." And Sophie? She smirked and said, "Good luck out there. Let's see how long you last." Their words cut deep, each one a jab meant to break me. And yeah, they hurt, but staying? That would have meant suffocating in a house of lies, pretending to be their perfect puppet. No thanks. So I left, stepped out with shaky legs and a heart that felt like lead. I didn't look back, not because I was brave, but because looking back meant doubting myself. It meant wondering if they were right, that I couldn't hack it alone. But I wasn't about to let them win. I landed in a random city knowing no one. Rent was a pipe dream, barely had enough for a burger. Jobs? Forget anything decent without a degree or connections. I took what I could get, a gig at a tiny nonprofit making peanuts that barely covered a room in a sketchy apartment. Those first months were a grind. Exhaustion, loneliness, hunger, the works. I'd lie awake at night, stomach growling, wondering if they'd been right all along. Then life threw me a curveball. I got sick. Stress, bad diet, who knows? But I couldn't afford a doctor. I dragged myself to work until I physically couldn't anymore. And my family? They didn't let up. Random texts started popping up. How's life without us? You'll never make it. Just admit you screwed up. Don't come crawling back when you're broke. They wanted me to crack, to beg, but I refused. That's when Ethan came into the picture. He wasn't just a friend, he was a lifeline, saw past the mess I was and believed I had something worth giving. We clicked over shared struggles and a crazy idea that maybe we could do some good. One night, over ramen and wild dreams, we hatched a program to help orphan kids get education and support, stuff we wished we'd had growing up. We started from nothing, no money, no big donors, just grit. We hit up local shops for donations, threw together community events, pulled all-nighters to make it work. And bit by bit, it grew. News outlets caught wind of our story. 2 broke kids trying to change lives. Donations rolled in. The program took off, bigger than we'd ever dreamed. You'd think my family might cheer me on, right? Nope, they doubled down. Suddenly, I wasn't just a disgrace, I was a fraud. She's just chasing clout, they said. Always been selfish, don't buy her hero act. It stung at first, hearing them twist something good into dirt. But then I saw it. Their smear campaign wasn't working. People saw the kids we helped, the real impact. My family's lies started backfiring, hard. Supporters called them out, and for once, I wasn't fighting alone. Success has a weird way of rewriting history for some people. Years of being their punching bag, and now that I'd built something real, they wanted back in. It started with a text from my mom. "We miss you. Can we talk?" I ignored it. Then came calls, voicemails, emails. My dad, the guy who disowned me without blinking, begged to meet. When I finally caved, just to hear them out, I wasn't ready for what I saw. My father, the same dude who humiliated me in print, was on his knees, bawling. "I was wrong," he choked out. "I never should have turned my back on you." My mom clung to me, sobbing. "We can't do this without you." Sophie, who'd gloated when I fell, switched gears too. "I was jealous," she admitted. "I was awful, but what you've done, it's amazing. I'm proud of you." It should have felt like a movie moment. Tears, redemption, all that jazz. But I wasn't that naive kid anymore. I saw through it. They didn't miss me. They missed what my success could do for them, so I called it out. "If you mean this, prove it," I said, calm but firm, because all I see are people chasing my spotlight to fix their image. They swore they'd changed, that they just wanted family again. I didn't buy it, not without evidence. But then, something shifted. My dad started showing up at my program, not as a big shot, but as a grunt, hauling boxes, helping kids. My mom quit feeding the rumor mill. No more snide jabs or press leaks. Sophie sent a letter, raw and real, owning her jealousy and cruelty without excuses. It wasn't a fairy tale fix. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight. But I saw effort, real effort. Forgiveness? That's tricky. I didn't flip a switch and say, "We're good." It's a slow burn. But eventually, I let go. Not for them, but for me. Holding on to that anger was like dragging chains around. I'd already won, built a life worth living, with or without them. Letting go just lightened the load. Looking back, I get it now. Living true to yourself is worth any price, even losing the people who were supposed to have your back. They ditched me for refusing their lie, but that choice shoved me towards something better, a life I owned. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the hurt. It's about cutting the strings tying you to it. I forgave them not because they earned it, but because I wouldn't let their mess define me anymore. Here's the takeaway, Reddit. Your past doesn't get the final say. I was the reject, the failure, the kid they said wouldn't make it. But I did. And if I can climb out of that hole, if I can turn betrayal into something worth a damn, so can you. Rejection, doubt, whatever. They don't own you. Trust your gut, stand your ground, and keep going. The road sucks sometimes, but the deepest cuts, they're just the start of something bigger than you ever dreamed.